And we're back for more for that ass. It's J-Rod and the Boss Lady in quarantine, and now we've made this a threesome. Our man, producer, comedian, writer, actor, boxer, police detective, Joey Medina joins us. What's up, man? Welcome to the show.
I've done everything. I sold Amway, whatever. I'm like, I work off a Home Depot. No, I'm great.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah. But I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on your show, guys. Love to listen to you, and let's have some fun.
Yeah, man. So obviously, to me, the hardest thing in the world to do is try to be funny on cue. I mean, because we always say, you're so funny. To me, it's like being a porn star. Everybody thinks they're funny. Everybody thinks they can be a porn star. Okay, let's go. Drop them pants. Okay, tell me a joke. That's hard, man. How did this all happen for you?
Well, it's funny. I never thought I would be a comedian, ever. But when I was a little kid, I would listen to, back then, when, we had albums. And I would listen to comedy albums. I was a fan of comedy. I knew all the comedians. I would watch anything on television that was stand-up comedy. And never in a million years did I think I can do that, because I thought that was special, And then one day, my life was rock bottom. I was actually living in my car. I was broke. My ex threw me out along with all my shit. And I went to a comedy club to cheer up. And when I stood there in that comedy club watching, I said, you know what? I told myself, I have nothing to lose. I can start my life all over again. And I said, I'm going to do this. And then that was it. And I just made the decision. That was a million years ago. And then, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I don't make many, but that one was a good one.
Where was your first show ever?
My first show ever was in Tucson, Arizona. Yeah, I was living in Tucson during that time. And that was my first show ever. So it was, anytime I go back to that comedy club, it's always, exciting for me because I was at, it's the club where I first started.
How did you do? Did you give you 5 minutes? Did you bomb? Did you do great?
The first time I ever went up, it was 3 minutes, but it felt like 3 hours. And it was, I did okay because I had my friends from work. I worked at Mervin's at the time. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Open. So they all, they all came to the show. It was really good. And the funny thing was, this is a true story. I have, and I still do, believe it or not, I have stage fright. But back then, I really had stage fright. So in order for me to get over the stage fright, I had to wear glasses, dark glasses, to have something between me and the audience, right? So then I thought to myself, I just can't wear glasses. That looks weird. I'm not blind. So I didn't act like I was a homeboy, like a cholo or something. And I wore a leather jacket and a Raiders cap and glasses, and I did the whole thing with an accent, and it was just stupid, man. It was just dumb.
Do you think it's easier to perform in front of your friends or in front of strangers?
Now, back then, probably in front of my friends, but I think now in front of strangers. But it took me a long time actually to I like looking at the audience when I'm talking and I'm doing my act. But if there's people I know in the front, like family or whatever, I get really nervous, and I would always avoid them. Like I didn't want to. I looked everywhere but at them. But now I've been doing it so long that I could talk to them. I could be more casual, and it's a lot easier now than it was before.
All right, so you've done like 50 different TV shows. You've had your own Showtime special. You were on the original Latin Kings of Comedy with some heavy hitters, George Lopez, Paul Rodriguez, Cheech Marin. I mean, did you ever, when you met these guys, did you ever look at them as somebody like, wow, idols or peers, or like, did you ever get nervous?
Oh yeah, I mean, total idols. I mean, the first time I ever worked with Paul Rodriguez, it was like, it was a dream. It was like, and I remember, I met him and I was like, hi, sir. I was really nervous. And of course, all the shows were sold out because back then, Paul Rodriguez was like the hottest Latin comedian in the world. And so to open in front of him, I did an amazing job, because it was easy. It was just, they were there. And it was great. And I had such a nice time. And I remember he tipped me at the end of the weekend $100. And I remember thinking, I'll never spend this money, but like, in 2 days, I had to buy gas.
You walk right over to the bar.
Yeah. I'm like, I still have the change though from that.
You have these 2 cents, these 2 pennies that I got back.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, what's been your biggest, because you're Puerto Rican from the Bronx.
Yeah.
Okay. So there isn't much that I would imagine phases you. There isn't much that makes you go, wow, that's scary. What is your inspiration for comedy?
To be honest, man, and I think this answer goes for probably most comedians. My inspiration is life. It's just everything. You know, comedians are conditioned to look at things in a comedic way, regardless, even if it's sad, even if it's horrible. You know, I'll give you a little inside scoop as an example. When we did the Latin Kings of Comedy, we shot that in El Paso, Texas, and all of us went to a hospital for terminally ill children to say hi and everything. And it was one of the hardest things we've ever did, because you have these poor little kids with IVs walking around, and we're trying to make them laugh. And we all took turns going to the bathroom to bawl, you know, to cry. And it was so sad to watch that. Like, even remembering it this long ago, I'm already getting teary-eyed. But the first thing we did when we walked out of that hospital is just make jokes. Because it was, even though they were horrible jokes, but we needed that to overcome it. We had to see funny in it, and we had to move forward. And it's a defense mechanism. And I think a lot of comedians, one of the reasons comedians don't go to therapy necessarily is because when we're on stage, that's our therapy. We can talk about our crazy girlfriends, our crazy exes. We can talk about, you know, traffic, whatever's bothering us. I mean, every comedian has their own process. Every comedian has a different style. But the majority, to me, the best comedians are the ones that are very observational, the ones that make the audience go, oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that. Oh, yeah. And those are the best comedians, because we just see the things funny. Like, for a good example, a good friend of mine called me the other day, and he's a comedian. He's always out of town and everything. And he's like, man, you know, I've been home all this time. He goes, I've been doing stuff around the house that I've never done before. And I'm like, yeah, like what? Raise your kids? Like, you know, and I'm like, it just comes out. Like, right. So now I use that in my act, right? But it's like, that's how comedians think. We think very funny. That's why, like, it's really hard for me when someone wants to battle me about Trump on Facebook. I never lose, because it's like, I know what to type. I know how to say, I know how to be a smart ass, you know? It's like you're not going to be funnier than me. You're not going to get me. It's impossible.
I would imagine.
Yeah, you must, this is prime time you must have like increased amount of jokes from all of this COVID experience and our situation in the White House. I'm sure you have like list of jokes to go on now.
Yes and no. It's like, because even though like all the gigs, you know, went away when quarantine started, and all my, you know, I had a bunch of gigs that got canceled. But luckily, I'm also a producer and a writer in a game show called Funny You Should Ask. So I've been so busy on that all day, from the morning to like, you know, early evening. I write I'm on that. So I have very few, like really a small amount of time to focus on other things. And it's hard. It's weird. I work harder now during quarantine, working from home, than I did going to the office.
Everybody says that. I think that's a common trend with everybody. Yeah. I noticed that when I still go into work, and when I stay home to work, I'm like, what? Forget it. I might as well go in. Because when you're in the office, you go and talk to your co-workers, have some coffee, goof around. No, when you're home, you're here working the whole time.
I know you got the internet, you got porn. You're like, oh, I don't know what to look at first. It's like. You know? For
me, my porn is Amazon. I've been shopping way too much.
Oh my God. I'm like, it's crazy. I tell people, I go, during the quarantine, I've signed so many autographs, but they're all from Amazon, you know, from the delivery guy.
Now, I think the best way to be funny is to not be afraid to offend. And I always have to me, the funniest people are white people. because they're the easiest to make fun of. I don't know if we owe it to them because of every minority in the world. Like, okay, we get to make fun of white people, but every time, like the big running gag joke here on our show is when Boss Lady gives me something. Like we just did a segment on a white guy, who married a sex doll and they delivered a fake baby. And all I can say is white people. Nobody else does that.
Nobody does it. Now look, I could see if you're gonna bang a sex doll. Some of them look hot,
Right?
But deliver a baby, that's ridiculous.
No, it's really wild. She's like positioned delivering the baby, and it's the mother of the guy delivering being the whatever, the delivery woman.
Oh my God.
I mean, I could just see like a Cuban woman. Oye, muchacho, tú estás loco. I'm not going to do that. You don't see no brothers doing that. You don't see no Chino over there going, oh, this is what we're going to do. Wang, you're going to deliver a fake baby. What the hell's going on?
And that's a white person thing. White people are crazy. Yeah, you're right. Look, every stereotype has every race or culture has their stereotypes. And some of them are intertwined, some of them aren't. But yeah, white people do the craziest thing. That's why white people are like the best serial killers. Like they're crazy. Like you take a Latino, you take a black person, we'll kill you. But the white person will kill you and then eat you. They take it. They'll wear your skin as a jacket. Like they take it to an extra level. You know what I mean? It's just. Like, what are you gonna do?
And obviously, you put in the society norms. Like again, you see Bob walking down the street covered in blood with a knife, and you say, "Bob, what happened?" Oh, nothing. Oh well, I guess nothing did happen.
Right.
Thanks, Bob. Go on, have a great day.
Yep. Don't trust Bob.
No.
I'm just happy that wasn't a Florida man.
Yes, thank God it was.
Oh my God! Almost everything that happens in bad or weird is from Florida.
Not this time. Not this time.
He probably moved away not too long ago.
I mean, as a kid, like I'm Cuban, and so is Boss Lady. So as a kid, my mom used to be so mad when Scarface came out because it was like, oh, all Cubans aren't like this, and I was like, yeah, they kind of are, but so whenever something happened, it wasn't a Cuban, we were like, oh, good, and that's how it kind of is with something happened. Oh, it didn't happen in Florida. Wait.
Yeah, I know. Like it's funny because of the quarantine. A lot of other states are catching up to Florida. They really are.
Right. And you're speaking of Florida, you're going to be coming our way, right?
Yes, June 4th to the 7th, I will be in Naples at the Off the Hook Comedy Club, one of my favorite places, one of my favorite cities. I love Naples. It's pretty and relaxed. A lot of cougars, and but now at my age, a cougar's like 80. But
a lot of MILFs, cougars.
Yes. But yeah, so I'll be at Off the Hook Comedy Club. It's a great comedy club and a great seafood restaurant at the same time. So I can't wait for that because I love seafood.
And how do we find you? I mean, you're obviously all over social media. Yeah,
I mean, my website is JoeyMedina.com, but nobody goes to websites anymore unless it's porn. Yes, but
maybe
so
some porn on there. Maybe some
yeah, you can get me on Joey Medina Tube. No, you can get me on all my social, my Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter is all Joey Medina Comic. So one word, Joey Medina Comic. Please follow me, and you can see all my crazy things on there, and of course, where I'm going to be performing. All
right, we gotta, it's sort of like when you see a doctor, oh, my elbow hurts. Or when you see a comedian, I gotta put you on the spot. What's your favorite joke? Or what's your favorite joke today?
Oh, you mean a joke that I wrote, or just a regular joke? Joke
that you wrote.
Oh God.
It's like being a porn star. Okay, let's go. Take the pants off.
Okay, let's see the joke that I wrote. I'll give you. Let me see. Let me think of a one-liner. Okay, this one. Okay, this is one of the jokes that I wrote for the game show because I write like jokes for the game show, and it's usually trivia related, right?
Right.
And they're like, there's a lot of true or false questions. So one of the jokes I wrote, I go is Dalmatian puppies are born black. So just the ones without the fathers.
That's JoeyMedina.com, everybody. JoeyMedina.com. Go yell at Joey. No, I love it.
Of course.
It's a ticket.
That's a racial ticket.
That's
the
beautiful thing about comedy is that it's it's an equal opportunity thing, you know. It's like it's all make believe. It's as far as, you know, all of that. Like the only time you can be racist is on a comedy stage, and it's not even racism. It's the kind of racism that you play with your friends. You know what I mean? Like you tease your black friends, and your black friends tease the Cuban friends, and the Cuban friends tease the white friends, and everyone teases the Asians. So, you know, it's kind of like that. And as long as I think you do it with love, and you know you're not being a racist, all you're doing is just playing with a stereotype, man. And, you know, and that's just the way it is. It's just like a joke I do in my act, and it kind of happened to me in real life, was this white woman. She was like in her 80s. She stopped me, and she asked me if I was Hispanic, and I said, yeah, I am. And she goes, well, can you help me break into my car? I locked my keys. I was like, you know, I was laughing my ass off. And I thought to myself, I go, at first I thought she was racist, but I go, she wasn't being racist. She was just increasing her odds of success, right? Who are you going to ask? You know, who are you going to ask to break in your car? A white guy or a Latino? You know, I'm like, maybe the Latino knows more.
I love it.
Oh my God.
Joey Medina, JoeyMedina.com. Hit him up on all his social media, Instagram, Twitter, Joey Medina Comic, right?
Joey Medina Comic.
Perfect. And he'll be in Naples. Hopefully they won't call like the cops on you like they did on that Muslim comedian over there.
Oh, yeah, that's a friend of mine. That was a friend of mine, too. I heard about that.
Through the 7 in Naples. Joey, thanks so much for hanging out with us, man.
My pleasure, man.
Okay?
Thanks for having me, guys. Stay safe and healthy.
Absolutely. That's Joey Medina. Ya tú sabes.